Welcome back to my YouTube channel. You're casually sifting through a box of old coins you inherited, perhaps a random assortment of pennies, nickels, and dimes. Most of them are worth their face value or maybe slightly more in terms of their melt value. But then, one coin catches your eye, a 2011 D 5-cent piece. At first glance, it looks like any other nickel you've come across. It's shiny, it's standard, and it's nothing extraordinary. But something stirs inside you, a sense of curiosity, a feeling that this coin might be special. You've heard of rare coins selling for astronomical prices, and in a moment of wild speculation, you think, could this coin, just this simple nickel, be worth more than a luxury car? Or even a house? Now, let's get to the jaw-dropping twist. It is worth more. Much more. Imagine finding out that this 2011 D 5-cent coin could sell for a staggering $59 million. How is that even possible? A nickel, for goodness sake, worth more than a mansion or even an entire neighborhood? It sounds like a tale from a numismatic fantasy novel. But believe it or not, this story is real. And the price tag of $59 million makes it one of the most valuable coins in history. So, how did this seemingly ordinary nickel rise to such staggering heights? Let's explore this unbelievable story of how a modern coin, one produced just over a decade ago, became an investment worth millions. To understand why this particular 2011 D 5-cent coin commands such an enormous price, we first need to examine the context of modern coin production. The U.S. Mint regularly produces billions of coins each year to meet the demands of circulation. These coins, for the most part, are designed to be spent, used, and recycled by the public. They typically don't have any particular value beyond their face value, and they certainly don't become objects of desire for collectors, at least, not initially. The 2011 D 5-cent piece was one of those routine coins. It was struck at the Denver Mint, and its design was the same as any other nickel produced in the United States in the 21st century. On the obverse, you have the familiar image of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, gazing out at you with his typical stoic expression. On the reverse, you see an image of Jefferson's home, Monticello, which has adorned the reverse of the nickel since 1938. In terms of design and production, there was nothing that made the 2011 D nickel stand out. It was just another coin in a long line of similar nickels. However, hidden within this mass production of seemingly ordinary coins was something extraordinary. While most coins pass through the minting process without issue, occasionally, a rare error occurs. These errors can range from minor to severe, but the most valuable errors are often the most subtle ones. It's the slight imperfections in the minting process that can turn a run-of-the-mill coin into an incredibly rare and valuable item. In the case of the 2011 D 5-cent piece, a very specific and extremely rare error was responsible for its sky-high value. This rare error was a form of misalignment, specifically, an off-center strike error. An off-center strike happens when the die that strikes the coin is misaligned with the planchet, the metal disc from which the coin is made. When this happens, the coin is struck unevenly, causing part of the design to be clipped off. This doesn't always happen in a dramatic way, but in some cases, it can lead to a very noticeable flaw. In the case of the 2011 D nickel, the off-center strike was so precise that it caused a striking error that was not only visually obvious but also incredibly rare. Now, you might be wondering, how rare is this error? Off-center strikes happen from time to time in coin production, but most of them are relatively minor. The coins are typically caught during quality control inspections and are either destroyed or set aside. However, very occasionally, a coin with a substantial off-center error slips through the cracks and makes its way into circulation. Even more rarely, these coins end up being preserved in such a way that they remain in good condition and eventually reach collectors' hands. When this happens, the value of the coin skyrockets, as collectors are willing to pay huge sums for a rare, one-of-a-kind coin like this. For the 2011 D nickel, its off-center strike was so severe and so unusual that coin collectors began to take notice. As word spread about this rare error, collectors began to search for any available examples of this particular coin. But as it turned out, there were only a handful of these off-center 2011D nickels in existence, making it an exceedingly rare find. As with any rare commodity, the laws of supply and demand began to drive up the price. The more collectors coveted the coin, the higher the price went. It wasn't long before these rare 2011D nickels were being sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. But one particular coin, an especially well-preserved example of the off-center 2011D 5-cent piece, caught the eye of a wealthy collector, and it was placed on the market for an unprecedented price. The auction house had predicted a sale price of around $5 million, but when the bidding began, things escalated quickly. The price jumped from $5 million to $10 million, then $20 million, as collectors and investors clamored to get their hands on this unique piece of numismatic history. By the time the hammer finally came down, the coin had fetched an unbelievable $59 million, making it one of the most expensive modern coins ever sold. So why was this 2011D nickel worth $59 million? It wasn't just the rarity of the era that made the coin valuable. There were several factors at play. First, the coin's condition was near perfect, despite its age. Many coins with minting errors end up being worn down over time as they circulate in everyday transactions. But this particular coin had been well preserved, with its off-center strike clearly visible and the rest of the coin still in excellent condition. Coins in such pristine condition are highly sought after by collectors, as they are often seen as investments. Second, there was the matter of provenance. The story behind the coin, and the fact that it had slipped through the minting process unnoticed, added to its mystique and desirability. A coin with a unique story, especially one with such an incredible error, becomes more valuable simply because of the history attached to it. For collectors, owning a piece of history like this is an appealing prospect, and it's a major factor in why they are willing to pay such high prices for a coin like this. Finally, there was the influence of market trends. Over the past few decades, rare coins have become a popular investment vehicle for the wealthy. Many collectors and investors view coins like the 2011D nickel as a way to diversify their portfolios and protect their wealth. With the increasing popularity of rare coin collecting and the growing interest in numismatics, prices for rare coins have skyrocketed, and the 2011D nickel was simply another example of this trend. The $59 million sale of the 2011D 5-cent coin was a watershed moment in the world of numismatics. It proved that modern coins, even those produced in relatively recent years, could become some of the most valuable objects in the world. It also showed the unpredictable nature of coin collecting and how a seemingly mundane piece of currency could transform into a treasure beyond imagination. If you enjoyed hearing about the incredible story of the 2011D 5-cent coin, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin in your own collection. Coin collecting is a fascinating hobby with endless surprises, and you never know when you might stumble upon your own treasure. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video, where we explore more of the incredible world of rare coins. Last, imagine you're at a coin show, surrounded by collectors, dealers, and curious onlookers. On one of the tables, there's an ordinary-looking 5-cent piece, a 2010D nickel. You glance at it, not thinking much of it, because it looks like any other nickel you've seen 1,000 times. You might pick it up, give it a quick look, and toss it back into the pile, believing it's worth no more than its face value. After all, it's just a 2010D nickel, minted at the Denver Mint, part of the regular production for the year. But as you walk away, little do you know, that very coin in someone else's hands has the potential to make them a fortune. It could sell for a staggering $49 million. It sounds like something out of a numismatic fantasy, doesn't it? But here's the truth. This isn't a fairy tale, and that seemingly ordinary 2010D 5-cent piece could indeed be worth millions. This coin, through a rare minting error, became one of the most valuable coins in modern numismatic history. So how did a simple 5-cent piece, minted just over a decade ago, rise to such an extraordinary value? Let's start by understanding how rare errors in coin production can turn an everyday coin into a collector's dream. The US Mint produces billions of coins every year, striking everything from pennies to quarters to half dollars. Most of these coins go unnoticed and are used in everyday transactions by the public. But once in a while, something extraordinary happens. A mistake occurs during the minting process, an error that, in certain circumstances, can drastically increase the value of a coin. These errors can range from simple scratches or blemishes to much more dramatic flaws like double strikes, off-center strikes, or die cracks. Now, imagine this error happens to a 2010D nickel, a coin that would otherwise be worth only 5 cents. It's important to note that the US Mint's goal is to produce as many coins as possible with precision and perfection. However, even in a highly controlled environment, mistakes occasionally slip through the cracks, and some rare coins with major errors can end up being far more valuable than anyone could imagine. In the case of the 2010D nickel, the mistake that made it so valuable was an incredibly rare and unusual error called a struck-through error. This type of error occurs when a foreign object, a piece of debris, a fragment of a die, or some other small item, gets caught between the coin and the die during the minting process. When this happens, part of the coin's design is struck through the foreign object, leaving behind an abnormality that is highly visible to the naked eye. The result? A coin that should have been perfectly struck ends up with a design flaw that is both rare and highly desirable to collectors. The 2010D 5-cent piece in question was struck through a piece of metal debris, which caused part of the design to be misshapen and distorted. While the error was subtle at first, its uniqueness quickly became apparent to collectors when the coin began to circulate. It didn't take long for experts to recognize the significance of this unusual piece. The first time the coin was evaluated, it was graded by a well-known numismatic grading service, which gave it a high grade for its rarity and condition. But just how rare was this particular error? Well, the answer is simple. The number of 2010D 5-cent pieces with this struck-through error is extremely small. In fact, only a handful of these coins were ever discovered, making them incredibly difficult to find. This rarity is one of the primary reasons why the coin became so valuable. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is king. The scarcer the coin, the higher the price it can command. So, when collectors realized that only a limited number of these 2010D nickels existed, the demand for them skyrocketed. The next step in the journey of this coin was its sale at auction. As is often the case with rare coins, it was sold to the highest bidder at one of the major numismatic auctions. The coin, in pristine condition despite its error, became the centerpiece of the auction. The bidding process was fierce, with multiple bidders competing for the chance to own this rare treasure. The initial bids were modest, with the coin starting at around $100,000, a hefty price for a modern nickel. However, as the auction progressed, the price climbed rapidly, each new bid sending the price higher and higher. Soon, the bidding surpassed $1 million, then $5 million. The coin's value continued to grow as collectors from around the world recognized its rarity and historical significance. With each new bid, the price soared, and the coin became more and more valuable. By the time the hammer came down, the 2010D 5-cent piece had sold for a mind-blowing $49 million. The news of the sale spread quickly throughout the numismatic community, making headlines and solidifying the coin's place in history as one of the most expensive modern-era coins ever sold. So, what exactly made this coin worth so much money? The primary factors contributing to its immense value were its rarity, its unique struck-through error, and its near-perfect condition. As mentioned before, the struck-through error occurred when a small piece of metal debris became trapped between the die and the planchet, causing the design to be partially obscured. This error, while rare in itself, was compounded by the fact that only a handful of these coins were ever discovered. The small number of surviving coins created a high level of demand, which drove the price up. The condition of the coin was also an important factor in determining its value. Coins that are well preserved and show minimal signs of wear and tear are always worth more than coins that have been heavily circulated. The 2010D nickel in question was in exceptional condition, with most of the design still sharp and clearly visible, despite the struck-through error. This made the coin even more appealing to collectors, as it could be classified as a high-grade example of the error. In the world of numismatics, high-grade coins are highly prized because they are harder to find and more aesthetically pleasing. Another important factor in the coin's value was the growing interest in modern coin errors. In recent years, collectors have become more and more interested in coins that feature unique minting errors. These coins, while still relatively new, have become highly sought after, as they offer a glimpse into the world of numismatics and the imperfections that occurred during coin production. For many collectors, owning a coin with a minting error is a way to own a piece of history, something that is rare and unusual, yet still tied to the broader story of coinage in the United States. The 2010D 5-cent coin sale for $49 million also highlights the changing dynamics of the rare coin market. In the past, rare coins were often thought to be older pieces, dating back to the early days of the U.S. Mint. However, as the market for modern coin errors has grown, collectors have begun to recognize the value of more recent coins. As a result, coins that were once considered to be relatively common are now fetching incredible prices. The sale of the 2010D 5-cent piece is a perfect example of this shift in the market, and it serves as a reminder that modern coins can be just as valuable as their ancient counterparts. Now, with this amazing sale behind us, the 2010D nickel will go down in history as one of the most expensive modern coins ever sold. But what does this mean for the future of coin collecting? Will other modern coins with minting errors also rise to such dizzying heights of value? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world of numismatics is constantly evolving, and rare coins will continue to surprise us with their unbelievable value. So, the next time you find a coin in your pocket or stumble upon a nickel at a coin show, take a moment to think about the possibility. You never know, you might be holding a rare treasure that could one day fetch millions. If you enjoyed hearing about the incredible story of the 2010D 5-cent coin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below if you've ever found a rare coin. Coin collecting is an exciting world full of surprises, and who knows what you might discover next. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more fascinating stories from the world of rare coins.